From the back room of a slaughterhouse that's been converted into a rave that features blood pouring out of the sprinklers, this is Debaser, a film podcast. I'm Jared Rusk, and I'm joined by my co-host Will Taylor. On this show, we explore both new and familiar movies to bring you details and discussion about them, all in an effort to debase the films and ourselves. Today's episode, a film written by the co-writer of the Nolan Batman trilogy. A Marvel film released a decade before Iron Man began the cinematic universe. An R-rated superhero flick nearly 2 decades before Deadpool. A movie so cool with a star so irreplaceable that Disney has been trying to reboot it for over 6 years, and even as of yesterday has failed miserably at every turn. The movie, Blade. Stay tuned.
You gotta kick it off with a killer to grab attention. Then you gotta take it up a notch.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us.
Who are you? I'm Shiva, the god of death.
Cells.
Interlinked.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Are you going to have a section where you do like your favorite quotes?
I'm really trying not to just quote this movie the whole episode, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. All right.
Because I do it all the time.
I brought notes this time for specific.
Okay.
My favorite quote is the blood drop, the audible sound that it makes.
Oh, yeah. We could get to that when we did.
Oh, is it in the subtitles?
Yes. Kerbloop.
Folks, welcome back to Debaser. We have 2 very special guests today. A first ever for Debaser, by the way. The great Alex has returned. And for the first time ever, the great Nicole. Guys, welcome to Debaser. How are we feeling?
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, guys.
So subdued. Okay. All right. High energy. Let's do it.
I just figured after I listened to the last episode and I realized how obnoxious I was.
Come on. No. Actually, Psycho Gorman and what was It Follows? We did that with you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those were actually they're pretty decent on the listener list. So
it's all me.
feedback.
Just listening to
it was all your clout. Yeah, that brought them on.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Thanks for having us, guys. Are we gonna ask Will a question? What you do at the top of every episode?
No,
he stopped doing
that.
I quit doing that a little bit ago. Yeah.
Wow.
He doesn't like me anymore.
Well, Will, I want to ask you a question.
About to be replaced.
Let's do it.
What was your first vampire movie, Will? Do you remember?
Ooh, my first vampire movie, I believe, I saw bits and pieces of the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula, but never all the way through. But my first vampire movie that I do distinctly remember seeing in the theaters was 30 Days of Night. I love 30 Days of Night. I got obsessed with it afterwards. I remember going to Barnes & Noble like a couple of weeks later and seeing the graphic novel and purchasing it. And just trying to see like the differences between the two. It was such a different take on vampires because around the time that it came out, Twilight was in theaters, and being a edgy teenage boy, you're like, "Ooh, Twilight's stupid. Fucking sparkly vampires is the dumbest shit ever," And seeing them like being these like vicious, almost like land shark people was really cool. And like I remember the scene where our protagonist has to hack the head off of his like friend. And he doesn't do it all like clean. Even on the second swing, like the head is kind of off the shoulders and it's being held by a little piece of meat before the third swing takes it off. I remember physically gagging in the theaters. This was like before my sicko, like I want to watch anything that's like Saw with body parts and shit. And that one really got me.
So Saw was your first horror movie, but this was after Saw.
This was after Saw, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Did that really come out around the time that Twilight did?
Yeah, it's around the same time because I saw
For
it.
some reason, in my head, it came out so much earlier because I feel like that was one of my first vampire movies too, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Oh, like the first one? Oh, no, you're talking about 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And for some reason, I feel like
It was within a year.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah, 07 and 08 for Twilight.
Maybe the book was out before the film, and that's what I was comparing.
Oh,
it to.
yeah,
I
the
can't
comic
quite
book
remember what it
predates
was.
the movie.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. That's it. That's my answer.
Oh, cool.
Well, hey, today we're talking about one of my personal favorite movies of all time. This was one of my first DVDs, and I watched it religiously. Maybe right after The Matrix, a number of times.
I was actually gonna say like how crazy similar The Matrix aesthetically is to this film.
Guys in trench coats with guns was like my thing.
Yeah, it still is.
It was funny because I literally said to Nicole, like, this movie walked so The Matrix, and
And a lot of people don't make those connections. And,
all the John Wick stuff. Like it's. I think honestly, people always credit Matrix with having this slow bullet stuff, but it's in this movie too.
Oh yeah.
When he shoots at Frost, it literally does like a fully CGI bullet time.
Right.
And Jared, I want you to know. So a little bit of history for me. In 1998, my brother got a DVD player for Christmas. It was like the only present he got because they were like $700 back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got a gift certificate for like $60, which is what DVDs costed then. The movie that I bought was Blade.
Oh yeah, shit.
So it was like
the,
only
cardboard and plastic case, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the standoff for the DVD was broken because it was just so wobbly. You know, there was a double-sided one back then. So we watched this movie a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's been at least a decade or more since I watched it. So it was really fun to revisit.
So I'm so glad you mentioned John Wick. I don't know if you guys saw this in the headlines, but what I mentioned in the intro about yesterday's news. So Disney has been, I'm just going to jump into the reboot news right now, but Disney has been trying, Disney, Marvel, what have you, it's all the same, has been trying to reboot this movie for at least since 2019. And have been failing miserably just over and over and over. Like different writers keep getting attached and then dropping out, different producers, different directors. And as recently as yesterday, it was announced that I forget who was initially attached to direct. It was somebody that I was happy with. But then they announced that now Chad Stahelski of John Wick fame is supposed to direct it.
Same actor for Blade?
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. Sorry, I should have mentioned that too. Mahershala Ali has been attached to it since they announced it 6 years ago.
Who I think is a great,
absolutely,
he's fantastic to play him.
But he's going to fall off of it at some point too, I'm sure.
Well, it's weird because who's the actor who plays Deacon Frost again?
Stephen Dorff.
Yeah, so Stephen Dorff and Mahershala Ali were in season 3 of True Detective.
Yes, they were. So, I know.
I feel like he kind of handed it off to him or something. I don't know. Which I think is one of the better True Detective seasons. So
it's probably the second best. Well, I never saw season 4, so it's probably not fair for me to say.
No spoilers.
Yeah, because I want to get to it eventually.
We only spoiled
the Alaska one?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot until it took away... never mind. I'm not going to spoil it.
The writer of True Detective seasons 1 through 3, Nick Pizzolatto, something like that, he was attached to write this movie for a long time, and then it never happened. He dropped off like so many other people.
Why does every page have Alexandra Daddario's titties in it? What the fuck?
And ass too at the same time.
Whoa, okay.
So the original director for the reboot is Bassem Tarek.
Wow, I don't even know.
And then the second director
that's the guy from Assassin's Creed Mirage?
Yeah, it is. No, that's Bassem Ibn...
I know.
I can't remember where he's from. The second director was Yan Demange. Other directors attached were Cary Fukunaga, which...
Cary was the one I remember. Okay, yeah. The True Detective season 1 director, too.
And now it's Chad
Although
Stahelski.
he's like canceled now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Some bad stuff came out about him.
Oh,
harassing people. Yeah. He also did some really good movies.
Can't be fucking up the bag like that, dog.
Yeah. So that's probably why he got kicked off of Blade, actually. I don't even remember the timeline now. It's been so chaotic. But anyway, fuck that reboot. It's going to be PG-13 too, so who cares? Let's talk about Blade. What does he say in the Deadpool movie?
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade.
Goddamn right, Wesley.
Honestly, something that I would say is like how far we've come with the R rating and PG-13.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is very close to PG-13.
Oh, yeah. You could make some slight edits and make it PG-13.
Yeah.
Just take
it doesn't have, because it's all CGI gore and everything.
Yep.
Like, it's
and
only
the CGI
vampires
is
getting killed.
Awful that it's like borderline cartoon.
It has not aged well.
1998, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or you say 88?
98.
98.
No, not 88. No.
Well,
if it was 88, this is incredible.
Yeah, actually, we need to give it a pass.
Yeah.
But let me hit the details. So the title of the movie is just Blade. It was released August 21st, 1998. It is available on VOD. Not streaming anywhere that I could find, but you got to pay for it. But tough, it's worth it. The film stars Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Chris Christopherson, R.I.P. baby, and N. Bush Wright. The film was directed by Stephen Norrington, which is notable because, as we pointed out in our last episode, he directed The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and then retired from Hollywood and was like, fuck y'all, I'm never making another movie. This was one of 4 movies he did.
Have you guys ever seen...
I respect that.
Yeah. No, have you seen League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yeah.
You have?
The movie?
The movie.
Sean Connery.
I think so.
Okay.
It came out in 2003, so it was 22 years ago.
When our League episode drops, not trying to plug, but you should listen to it because it's got some good details in it. And
there was so much fun behind the scenes shit, especially about him.
Yeah. And Sean Connery.
Famously, him and Sean Connery fought the whole behind the scenes, and that's why both of them retired from Hollywood after the movie.
That movie killed 2 careers. It's so good.
Exactly. It killed 2 major careers. Well, Sean Connery was major. He directed. It was his second big budget movie.
Yeah,
and he was just like, "I'm done." What's up?
Before we kick into it, I haven't been on the podcast since the incident. And
oh no!
Are you doing it right now?
Recap it. Yeah, I would like to.
All right.
I mean, as the head of
you
the
should have played
Italian
your intro
Defamation,
music.
as the head of the Italian Defamation League, I feel like it falls upon me for what you did to the Godfather to talk about this.
Okay,
so
let's revisit
in typical Doughboys fan fashion, I've actually created a game for you.
Well, do we want to give readers context first for why you're assassinating me for this here? So on our Snowpiercer episode,
that's right,
and I never went back to edit it. I left it in.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't pointed out to me until after the fact. I confused Ed Harris with not Ed Begley Jr. Who was it?
You can't even remember his name.
No,
Robert Duvall. Robert
Duvall. Excuse me. Who? I get Robert Duvall and Ed Harris mixed up, and I don't even feel that bad about it because at least they're white.
Well, do Robert Duvall and Ed Harris look anything alike?
So after
bald white guys.
So after that conversation, you pointed it out. I did watch The Godfather. I think I even mentioned it in for a later episode. And no, they don't. They don't. Ed Harris has got these clean, sharp features. Like his nose is very pointed. His cheekbone, everything's like defined, right? And then
Robert Duvall looks like he's melting.
He's got a little bit of a doughier face. And this was like him younger too.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, I understand like all bald white guys look the same. I mean, I've been watching White Lotus, so like they point that out, but no, there is distinct difference. And like I've got a tiny crush on Ed Harris because he's got these beautiful blue eyes. He's a very good looking guy. The other dude, not so much.
I mean, I was half
good looking.
I don't agree. One tickles the fancy, the other one does not.
I remember loving Robert Duvall. I think in that Snowpiercer episode, when I'm confusing him, I'm like, yeah, he's my favorite part of The Godfather.
Let's get into the game.
So, I don't have a theme song or anything. I wish that I had like.
You've got some.
Oh, it's just all.
So just
there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Who is in this fucking movie?
All right.
So I have a list of movies, and you're going to tell me whether it's Ed Harris or Robert Duvall in it. Okay. Some of these are pretty well known, so I think you might get some of them. Some of them I was like, it says he's popular for it on IMDb. So
that's fake. They totally sold that out to their agents now. Yeah.
Okay, so is it Robert Duvall or Ed Harris in The Truman Show?
Ed Harris. Fuck.
That is correct.
I was going to say, I haven't seen that in forever. I know it's not.
I was sweating there.
I wanted to give you a couple easy ones.
Okay.
Because I just warmed you up. Okay, Open Range. Is it Ed Harris or Robert Duvall?
Is this a animated movie?
I don't believe so.
That's Home on the Range.
I'm sure there's an animated movie called Open Range. I pass. I don't know.
That's a Robert Duvall movie.
Okay.
So that's 1 for 1. Apollo 13.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
this is
God.
a film podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
I saw that movie in a high school classroom in high school.
To be fair to him, we watched the films before we start talking about them.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer this?
Robert Duvall?
Oh, it's Ed Harris.
Oh, no.
Wow.
I can distinctly remember his face in that.
I saw that movie on CRT television, up on a wall in a high school.
Winning movie.
I know, but it's
about
not.
Oscar.
But who directed that movie, buddy?
I'll look it up while you ask him.
He also directed a movie about J.D. Vance. I'm not a big fan.
Wait.
Yeah. Isn't it Ron Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did the J.D. Vance movie.
The J.D. Vance movie?
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hillbilly Elegy. Thank you, Will. I did not have that at the top of my tongue.
Disappointed.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Pollock.
Not familiar with the movie.
Ed
Pass.
Harris.
Man,
Why
Will
are you
is killing
Because he's
Fuck off.
Polish.
Oh,
Polak is a Polish thing.
I thought
it could have been a
This
biopic
one-
about Kevin
This one's
Pollak.
a bit. This one's a bit of a curveball.
He said Polak.
I know.
Godfather. Can you get this one right?
I'm gonna have to pass.
You can't call your wife if you'd like. We won't do a phone a friend.
I wonder if she would know better. We watched those movies together, so maybe.
So Ed Harris was your answer?
No, Duvall.
Okay, Rob Duvall. All right.
I got that one straight. Believe me. Ever since you got on to me, I feel like I'll always remember.
Jack Reacher, not the TV
the
show.
Tom Cruise movies.
Yes,
I haven't seen them. I've only seen the TV show.
Do you feel like it's more of an Ed Harris property?
I feel like Ed
Robert
Harris
Duvall?
would take that check more than Duvall. Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it's Robert Duvall.
Yeah,
Really?
No, he led you by the nose on that one. No. I'm gonna have to give that
Okay.
to you because he was like, "Do you think Ed Harris would?" That's
I
kind of
feel
very
like Ed
lame.
Harris would slum it for that.
Yeah, same here.
Hey, do you have a history of violence on there?
No.
Damn. Because I don't
You
even remember which one it is.
You should know this one. This one should be easier than The Godfather for you.
Oh,
right?
fuck.
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, no. Okay, I know it's
Dude,
Al
are you
Pacino.
kidding? Are you really struggling with this?
I saw that movie like 20 years ago. And I had to explain the plot of it the other day to Courtney because they talk
You
about it so
explained the
much on
plot?
Doughboys. And she's like, what is this movie? And I had to explain the plot. And I was like, that's where ABC is from and Coffee's for
It's
Closers.
Coffee's for
Yeah.
Closers.
I know it's Alec
The
Baldwin.
person who gives the Coffee's for Closers that's for that scene
That's Alec Baldwin.
is present there. The person
I
that,
thought he was
that's
the
in
one
this
yelling,
movie.
put the coffee down. Is it Duvall? Because I don't think that was Harris.
It's Ed Harris.
God damn it.
You're getting fucked, dude.
All right.
We found my weakness.
Crazy Heart.
Crazy Heart? Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I never saw that, but that's Jeff Bridges is like a sad country guy, right?
Yeah. Jeff Bridges is either a stoner or a sad guy in any movie.
He could be a game designer sometimes too, man.
Yeah, he
you know,
has been.
bio-digital jazz, man.
But now he's Obi-Wan Kenobi sad guy, kind of in it a little bit. You'd be amazed how productive doing nothing is, man. Just get stoned.
Duvall? That's a crap shot, though.
You are correct.
Oh,
now,
there
this
we
is
go.
a very important one. The Departed.
Oh, I know this one.
Whoa, hold on. Who was he in The Departed? Or either one of them, I
Who
guess.
is it?
It's Duvall.
It's none of them. I put this on here to trick you guys.
Oh,
into
okay,
saying,
good.
all right.
Because I was like, that's Martin Sheen microprocesses.
Well, I feel you've done your penance, and
All right.
on behalf of the Italian Defamation League, I forgive you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next
As
time,
if those people need to forgive anyone, because yeah. Anyway,
next time you should do Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney.
Oh, well, no, SNL owns the copyright on that,
Yeah, I
I
know.
think. Yeah.
They do. Okay. Blade.
Oh, my God. That was fun. Thank you for that.
what do we do now?
Now that I'm all sweaty. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
That was
Thanks for being
Ed
thanks for
Harris
being-
or Robert Duvall.
Thanks for being a sport.
Thank you for doing it. That was fun.
Oh, I've got Will in my crosshairs for the next one, which probably means I'm never coming back. But you know, what? At least Will owns it.
Okay,
Like,
well, hold on a
Will-
second. I'll tell you this right now. I do not schedule any guests on here. I show up, I talk about the movie, I go home. That's about it. So you are always welcome back.
If you're telling me we're going to team up on Will, you're definitely coming back.
Of course.
I mean, there was a birthday party where we were teaming up on Will, and I told her, you know, pretty much it's everyone teaming up on Will, so you'll fit into the podcast fine.
I don't even know which birthday party this was.
Oh, we were doing some. I think you were talking about how E.T. is a bad ride. Or something.
Oh.
We can save that for later. We can save it for later.
Okay, yeah.
This
that's
is
right.
this
That's
is
not-
his,
talk about the fucking
this is
movie.
his Last Jedi.
No,
Okay.
we gotta talk about the movie. Blade.
Will, I do have a question for you.
Yes, what's up?
We're at Blade's budget right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to guess what its budget was?
So I'm going to assume that CGI was kind of expensive back in the day. So I'm going to go with 20 mil.
It was actually 45.
Damn, I undercut myself.
But can you guess what it grossed?
Oh, I know this movie made gangbusters because this is like what made all other, like, this was the benchmark for all other comic book movies that came after the fact. So I'm going to go with 150 mil.
Pretty close, 131.
I'm getting pretty good at this.
It was the highest grossing and most successful Marvel film at the time. And
Yeah.
for a long time,
Really?
I think, until X-Men 2.
More than the canon Fantastic Four movie that had come out? I find that hard to believe.
Which
Was
which
it?
one?
The canon Fantastic Four.
Is that the one that like never really got released?
Yeah, never really got released. Yeah, exactly. And that
they made it just to keep the rights for a little bit longer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then the really shitty 1990 Captain America, right?
Yeah, but if you go back and you see stuff from that movie, it looks impressive. It's actually interesting to see what they had.
Wasn't it like an Italian
compared to the shit that came out within like the last couple of years for Fantastic Four?
Well, Fantastic Four has always been like a troubled.
The Josh Trank movie in particular.
Fan Four Stick is what it was called.
I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah,
we're talking about Blade. Okay, Blade.
So, yeah, it made a lot of money, and that's what like made all the other studios be like, we need to make Marvel movies. Daredevil, Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah,
Elektra.
It started a feeding frenzy because a lot of people attribute it to X-Men, the first X-Men movie, but that came out like a year or two later.
I'm guilty of that too. Yeah. I thought it was X-Men as well because like no shit, Jared. Until last week,
it's because you guys are white and you didn't think about that.
No, not me, baby. I always knew. I have been carrying a torch for Blade since I was 8 years old. Okay,
Nicole and I are on here to keep you guys accountable.
I want to say, here, I was never like big into comic book movies. Like, yeah, I liked the Superman films with Christopher Reeves in them. I thought those were good, but I was also like 5, when they came out. I wasn't too big into comic book movies until...
you grew up with him in a wheelchair. You didn't even know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you're
right.
like the guy that was on TV for infomercials.
But anyways, I want to say that like my first comic book movie was Daredevil. Oof. And I loved it because I was 11 and it had Evanescence in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
The fact that people still ride for that song so hard now is so funny to me because the lead singer hates that song. She's like, they put this guy rapping and it ruined it, but it's the only way we're gonna get big, and people just love that thing.
They're doing the soundtrack for the Devil May Cry anime.
Oh, really?
That's fucking tight.
Hell yeah. I'll send you the trailer. Actually, it's kind of cool.
That fits. It fits.
Because they've had like a resurgence. Yeah, because millennials are. Yeah.
We have money now.
No metal resurgence.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. But yeah, I grew up watching the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman films on
those
VHS.
Two, yeah, those are great.
Yeah, and so that's probably why I like my heroes like dark and covered in black leather. So when this came out and like I rented it from Blockbuster with my parents, and I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever fucking seen. Nothing is coming close to this ever.
Tim Burton 1989 Batman movie?
The first one is 89, yep.
It's the first movie I ever saw as a kid. It's the first movie my parents ever took me to. I had to be 3.
Yeah.
But I loved that movie.
That was a phenomenon for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
That movie like changed everything. It made, I think, more money than any movie at that point. Like people were just like
losing
completely enthralled by it. Yeah. Like there's even other movies where you'll see posters for it in the background because the marketing campaign was so big for it. It was enormous. Yeah.
It's so crazy because when you think back to those movies, I feel like the cartoon is very closely associated with it too, for just the theme and design and everything. And, that's back when Batman couldn't kill anyone. And then you go back and you watch that movie, and there's a scene where Batman just goes into a factory and drops bombs,
and is just shooting machine gun turrets out of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And the second one, he straight up puts dynamite on a guy and throws him off a cliff to blow him up with it.
Yeah. He's like, it's okay. He's a unhomed person. No, that's Christian Bale.
Yeah, he actually goes out of his way not to.
No one REBT in my town.
Okay. Did you peek at the Rotten Tomato score for Blade, Will?
What's funny? I think, isn't it negative? Isn't it pretty bad?
It's not great.
It's 44?
It's
right?
58.
58, my bad.
That's so frustrating.
I want to say that it's probably the CGI. As Nicole mentioned it earlier, I think it's probably the CGI that...
It is mentioned in the reviews because I was flipping through them, but a lot of them were just like, this whole movie's a bunch of tripe. One was even like, Wesley Snipes has digitally altered his voice to be deeper, and I was like, what? Yeah, I think that one's completely off the mark.
Yeah.
Even I watched it 2 more times for this episode, and I'm like, there's no way he'd have to ADR every single line or something here.
Yeah, no.
One thing I will give this movie after watching is the editing in this movie is tight.
Yeah.
There was a scene that happened in this movie that her and I were watching. I was like, I think if this movie was made now, this scene would have been 20, 15 minutes, would have been a long chase. It happens quick. Sorry, I keep snapping.
No, you're fine.
And it's over, and it just moves on, and it was like, thank God. That's
also,
all it needed to be.
The expository is so efficient. They don't jump around things for a while. They don't sit there and re-explain things over and over and over. They'll just out with it and then they just move on.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they don't even have to give you expository. Just the scene shows you enough to let you know what's happening in the scene. But yeah, okay. So I pulled some critic reviews.
Let's hear him.
In his review of Blade for the New York Daily News, film critic David Keir panned the film, writing, "Has the comic book movie reached the end of the line? This glumly familiar, been there, done that aspect of Blade certainly suggests so."
What the fuck is he like?
He wrote that in 1998.
Okay.
And I bet he feels like an asshole. Conversely, Roger Ebert mostly praised the film, giving it 3 out of 4 stars and writing, "Wesley Snipes understands the material from the inside out and makes an effective Blade because he knows that the key ingredient is an interesting superhero is not omnipotence, but vulnerability. There is always a kind of sadness underlying the personalities of the great superheroes who have been given great knowledge and gifts, but few consolations in their battle against evil. The fun all seems to be on the villain side. This is the kind of movie that gets better the more you know about the genre."
I think he nailed it.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't care about in comic books is I don't like Superman. I don't like how he's like unkillable.
I think he can be interesting, but for the most part, people don't do him justice.
Yeah,
the thing that makes him interesting is his vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
This is a person that is supposed to be, like almost like a god, right?
Yeah.
And so making him look fallible or giving him a challenge.
That's why All-Star Superman is everyone's favorite comic.
All-Star
of his.
Superman's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm on the outside.
Also,
of this.
Superman Birthright's an excellent lead.
I don't read comic books
read
that
that
much,
one.
so that's like.
So you're going to judge Superman, but you don't even read
Shut the fuck up! Once again, I grew up watching Christopher Reeve, so
that's why the 2 most interesting Superman comics that everyone knows is like the death of Superman and then the one where he gets cancer. Like,
well, but that's what I'm getting at is like Ebert nails it in the sense that like Blade is supposed to be this paragon of good. He's trying to do what he thinks is right, hunt down vampires and shit who obviously prey on the weak, but he does have weaknesses himself. He's got vulnerabilities. He's got a troubled past and whatnot. I mean, not to jump to a certain point in the movie, but he reconnects with somebody that's been out of his life forever, and it's like it's touching. Like, dude, my wife fell asleep, and when I watched Blade, my wife had fallen asleep and went off to bed, and so she didn't see the last half of the film. And when she woke up, and I told her, like, yeah, Blade meets X and whatever, and this all happened, she was like, holy fuck, that's like, that's wild.
She didn't even see him rip a guy's throat out and throw it at another guy.
No,
she missed the best part of the movie.
Also,
but like,
I hope we get to that part because I have some thoughts.
God willing.
It's interesting.
But Ebert gets it right. I think that's an excellent review of the movie.
Especially for that early on too, because I feel like with Batman and everything, like Batman doesn't really have the same vulnerability that they showed in movies back then. Like his biggest problem is he going to date Vicky Vale or not? Or
exactly, or whoever the lady of the movie is, because he goes through 4 of them in each one. Yeah. I kind of blew my load on this one already, but over on Letterboxd, user Comrade Yui gave the film 4 stars, writing, "The moment when Blade rips out a vampire's throat and tosses at another vampire is pure cinema. That's what you go to the movies for, baby."
Is this the same guy that wrote that long diatribe on Rebel Moon or whatever?
Oh, I don't remember that guy's name. I thought you were going to ask Will Miniker from Chapo.
No, it was Comrade something.
Damn, maybe I did pull him twice.
What if, right?
Yeah.
That guy wrote like
shout out to
5 fucking paragraphs about how Rebel Moon is like the manifesto for proletariat uprising. It was fucking weird, man. Yeah.
I was just fascinated by the work that went into it.
Yeah, me too.
Man.
I just want to know if he was high.
I don't understand Zack Snyder.
No, see, I was high when I watched those films. And
I'm sorry, Nicole, if you're a fan of Zack Snyder. No? Okay. I was so worried I was going to be, and she's like, I'm a huge fan, actually. Rebel Moon was my jam.
I love 300. I can't believe, that disabled guy hurting those beautiful bronze Spartans. Can't believe he did that.
He's so ugly, too.
And he's not even like that in the comic book.
Yeah, I know.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice, all right. Oh, my God. Do we want to roll into the summary?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I had some notes, so I'm going to jump in here.
Oh, like as we go through it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Blade opens in the 1960s with a young, pregnant black woman being rushed by doctors to the delivery room. The woman is injured and covered in blood, and her baby is delivered and rushed away. Then the film jumps to modern day.
Also, hold on.
Yes.
I'm going to railroad you here. There's a weird wallet drop. They see her wallet. It falls in a really weird way.
The way they throw
it goes flying
Yeah.
up in the air and then lands, and the camera zooms in on her ID.
I had to make a note of this. I don't know why, but it bothered me. Dude, and then last night I lost my wallet at work.
Oh no!
For 5 hours, I was.
Oh, okay, you got it
I was
back.
planning my life, not having a wallet or ID.
Oh my god!
I was like, I don't have a social security number.
I don't exist anymore.
I guess I just don't exist. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Please.
You don't keep your social security card in your wallet. What are you doing?
I lost my social security card.
Oh no!
We're not going to talk about this.
Okay. Yeah. So then the film jumps to modern day, which is 1998 for the movie, and a young woman played by Tracy Lords is taking a young man to a meatpacking facility.
Legal Tracy Lords now. She's not underage in this movie, so just
wait. Did she do porn while she was underage?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the whole thing that's big about Tracy Lords is that she
didn't.
she was performing when she was like
8
16.
when this movie came out.
So that was like what made her big was she was performing when she was like 16, and then when she
Jesus
became legal, she was
Christ.
like, oh, actually, and so all the stuff that she had,
They had to get pulled.
yep,
right?
they had to pull all that,
Oh
but she
my
became
God.
like really famous for the fact that she entered the industry like so young. But she's
Jesus
been in a bunch of movies and everything. But you know what? I didn't know that was her. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
You pulled that. You didn't know.
I just know the name because like she's like was famous in the 90s, I know, for like being a porn actress that went to like traditional Hollywood movies.
Sex worker, please.
Wait, does that apply for I'm sorry, that's actually an ignorance on my part. Is that actually what they call actresses in that industry?
You can call it.
Or
an
they also
actress.
fall under?
That's totally fine.
No.
It's fine.
I mean, it's all sex work. So,
True, you're right.
But you
yeah.
can call them it. That's fine.
well, we have Nicole's approval.
I'm gonna tell you to shut the fuck up.
I did
You're
not know
totally
that.
fine
Thank
saying
you.
a porn actress. That is totally fine.
Is that the preferred nomenclature? Or
I mean-
I can switch to sex work. I
No,
literally don't know. I'm
it's
sorry.
really fine.
Okay. Well, anyway, the couple enter a room in the back of the meatpacking facility that opens up into a retrofitted rave full of young people dancing to techno music and strobe lights.
Could you drop because everybody else uses it for the meme. Do you think you could drop it in and not get copy fucked?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I could probably do it just for anything but the YouTube video.
Was that
Yes.
Crystal Method that did that song?
No.
It wasn't.
It is
Also-
a remix of a Joy Division song.
Oh, no shit.
The dude that she brings in is wearing 3 fucking jackets
3
in LA.
jackets and a hat.
And a Kangol.
beret.
And a hat.
Kangol.
And then the
He's really good at being he's just a hot young guy looking to get off somewhere. You know what I mean?
he's hot because he's got 3 sweaters on, Jared.
There's
Okay.
a lot of people in that meatpacking.
Let me
Oh my
ask
God.
you too. Where do you guys think this movie takes place?
It's
Like
in
what
LA.
city?
It's LA.
Okay. Will, do you have an opinion?
I'm gonna be honest with you because I'm fucking stupid. I thought this shit was like Eastern Europe.
Really?
The meatpacking place.
Okay.
Yeah, but what was it?
Are you thinking it too?
No. I'm
Oh,
dead
okay.
serious. Like
Okay.
for whatever reason, I thought that it was Eastern Europe because the second one is in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was like a callback to the first one.
I always thought it was New York.
Oh yeah.
And then reading the script, it's New Orleans.
What?
Yeah. Blade is a New Orleans character. Yeah, he's traditionally set in New Orleans.
I did not know that.
But
But
the
they
movie-
clearly filmed a lot of it in LA, which is, I imagine, is where you guys are coming from because you probably recognize like sets or something,
I
right?
think
Yeah,
People,
that looks
streets.
nothing like New Orleans.
Well,
However-
she's not from LA. She only just went to visit from there. I'm from LA.
Yeah, he's
Well, you're the one that you know, like I know that's
But
a place from
it's-
LA, right?
But the
Yeah.
thing, they never like show any like big staples. I mean, but it is like the thing that I do like about it is it's not like it's Hollywood, Los Angeles. It's downtown LA, which I think
Right,
they did a
right.
good job. You know that though, because like in the scene that's sped up for no reason whatsoever.
I love that
It
scene.
goes-
We're going to
It's
talk
so
about it. I love that
cartoonish.
scene.
Yeah.
but it goes by some Los Angeles staple places. So
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was trying to act like it was any place that was different. The one problem that I have with this movie, being an Angelino, is that the train runs much more efficiently in the movie than it ever did in the 90s. We had like one train that went 2 miles.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, let me point out a scene to you that will fuck with your head, though. When Frost and his like lackeys take Udo Kier's character out to the beach and the sun rises over the ocean, that couldn't happen in LA. The sun doesn't rise in the west. So they're on the East Coast in that scene. Yeah. Because I thought about that watching this movie. Because they never explicitly say where it is, to be fair. But I think they are sometimes they're cribbing like a New York aesthetic.
Yeah.
But they definitely, I don't think they pay any lip service to it being Los Angeles
So
or
much
New
you got
Orleans.
fired over that one.
I mean, you don't necessarily. If I may defend it, you don't necessarily know that is in at Los Angeles. That scene,
Right?
This is
Right.
showing you background. They could have gone down the coastline to Mexico and be in Baja, like in New Mexico, and they could
Okay.
be watching the sunrise
Okay.
there.
Mm.
You know, we don't know where the big vampire meeting is. That could have
Yeah.
taken place elsewhere, but I know the core of the movie takes place in Los Angeles.
Right.
Because at the end of the movie, when they come out of that hole from that weird temple that's been there, I'm like, oh, they're in the valley. Look,
Yeah.
it's a complete
Yeah.
shithole.
Yeah, I like how all of a sudden you can tell like they're in a city because it's like, oh, I thought they were like way out in the desert in this temple. But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't need to get all cinema sins about it. Oh yeah, we're in the club. We're in the club. And the man in the Kangol and three jackets,
And we're all fam.
is one is wandering around, and he's like
Wait, but do
taking
you
in.
think that it's actually hot in there because they're all dead? So maybe it's actually cold in
You
there.
fucking got me. Oh, no. Okay, hold on.
Well, it is a
Maybe
meatpacking
the
facility, and they're
jackets-
famously very cold.
So maybe the jackets
He's
are
wearing
totally
three
reasonable.
jackets
Hold on.
outside
No.
in LA.
Wait. I want to actually.
Yeah, but
wanna
he's got
bring
a
this-
heat seeker. So
Hold on. Because you didn't see Blade 2, I've got you on this one.
Okay.
There is a part in Blade 2.
Oh,
Chill.
the thermal.
with the thermal, Chris Christopherson, I believe, is the old man.
Holds
He's
up
wearing-
thermal goggles to see the vampires.
and you can see
Chris
the
Christopher-
Wait, he
vampires.
dies in the first one.
Guys, you didn't watch Blade 2. We can't get into it. We can't get into this yet.
Yeah.
Will.
He can't
Don't
just
spoil
But
it.
no, I'm just bringing it up
He's
to
a vampire.
hold on, I'm bringing it up
Oh,
to
no.
prove a point, and that
Walk
is
away.
for whatever reason, vampires do show up on thermals just like us. So that
No.
the people that he looked at were
Everybody's cold except Wesley.
No, hold on.
Watch it again. Pull it up right now. Wesley's the only one that's
Let me
warm
see if I can
blooded.
fucking pull it up because
No, I'm
I saw
serious.
two bodies.
Because that's a specific point of that scene is Wesley's the
Let me
only
pull
one
this
that's
up.
warm blooded.
I'm wrong.
That's where I thought you were going because
You're
you
gonna
were
look
like,
at me
yeah.
and tell me that I'm wrong?
Fuck.
Anyway, I'm moving right past
Yeah,
it.
go.
We're still in the first scene of the
Grow
fucking
up.
movie. The young man in the Kangol is wandering around the rave, like taking in all of our main characters who we don't know just yet, though. But it's really fun when you're watching the movie for like the 10th time and you're like, oh, there's Frost and there's Donald Logue getting a double blowjob kind of thing.
Iconic.
Yeah. And then he starts to notice that something's dripping down from the ceiling and he looks up at the fire suppression sprinklers. What's up?
It drips on his hand. He tastes it.
Yeah.
The first thing
That's
that
what you do, right?
when something drips on you in this fucking meatpacking plant,
You
you're
lick
gonna
it.
taste it.
Yeah.
You don't even smell it. You just go straight to
That's the movies, baby.
Have you seen his hat?
His Kangol? Yeah.
Yeah,
The
okay.
man's wearing a Kangol. He
Yeah.
licks it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, the sprinklers just start pouring blood. The whole rave goes nuts. Everyone's losing their mind and they start flashing vampire things. Everyone in here is a vampire.
Oh my god.
Except our man in the Kangol. He starts to freak out and then they start beating on him and he falls down in the pool of blood and they start kicking the shit out of him. And he freaks out. He crawls away, gets away from the crowd of people just as the sprinklers start turning off and everyone starts clapping, and they're coming down, you can tell. But he has crawled over to a man wearing all black that is completely untouched by the blood. He looks up and he sees Blade, played by Wesley Snipes. Perhaps the coolest motherfucker that's ever been on film. So the vampires start to notice Blade is in the room. They start whispering amongst themselves and getting the courage to attack him. One of them just shouts out, "Come on, Daywalker!" Blade just pulls a shotgun out from nowhere and just starts blasting them.
He's killing the shit out of these people.
Killing the shit out of these guys like it's nothing. What's great about this movie is, I don't know what the timeline is. Did Blade create the like vampires dying on screen turning into dust? Or did Buffy, was Buffy pre this?
That's not a question for me. I never watched Buffy.
Yeah.
I think
think Buffy might have. They're both coming out around the same time.
Well, the
is
TV
what I
show was
remember.
airing, I think, when this movie came out.
Yeah. So
And
Buffy
the
probably
Buffy
created
movie
that
was like
first.
90, 91.
Yeah,
right?
but they don't turn into dust in that movie.
Okay, yeah, they probably didn't have the effects to do that back then anyway.
so.
yeah.
Buffy started in '97.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
Buffy may have been
Buffy-
doing it, like right before this then. So they could have been inspired by that. But yeah, to me, vampires always die on screen by fading into dust like that, or like they're burning into ash real
Yeah.
fast. Oh, it's so
But
cool.
I think that part of that is the whole like the '90s always had a thing of like, you don't know about this because the body of it disappears. So
that's why there's never any evidence.
Yeah, there's never any evidence. So there's always like kind of that element. But now with the internet, none of that matters. People don't think about that anymore. So it's like,
there's no mystery anymore.
Yeah. No. The real mysteries and conspiracies now are how they're putting chemicals in the water that are turning the freaking frogs gay.
What they don't talk about is the pheromones that were in the blood sprinkler that were turning the vampires gay. Now that would be conspiracy.
He said pheromones. I'm into Blade too.
No one pulled out their phone to record Blade fighting.
Don't get me started.
I'm gonna talk over just blaze past the really cool fight scenes because there's not much to recap in them. But if you want to talk about them, please.
There is one part in this scene that stood out to me, which is when Frost, right hand man comes in and he says,
"Quinn, yeah."
Oh my god,
that's him.
That's him. Get him. Fuck him up. Yeah.
He just killed 50 guys, and then they walk in like, who was that? Oh, it's that guy. Like
he has to be one of the most annoying goons.
Yeah.
He had a much smaller role in the film originally, but everyone thought Donald Logue was so funny that they
that's totally
had
fair.
him have more lines.
He nails it.
There's so many good parts where Frost starts teasing him. And he just goes, you're just fucking with me, man. And he's trying to laugh it off, and no one else cares.
And his
I
stupid
love that
braids.
Yeah.
Those first braids that he has, those are for sure cultural appropriation. That would not fly today.
Yeah. Did you know he's in a couple episodes of the What We Do in the Shadows show?
Yeah, we were talking about how that show just pulls it. Eric Northman is in one of the last episodes of the last season.
Yeah.
I love how they just pull in all of these people.
Season about the blood sprinklers, essentially. It's a big plot point in that show,
because doesn't Nasha buy a club?
Yeah, she buys a club just so they could have blood sprinklers in it.
I didn't get to that part.
That's fine. I never watched the show. I've seen bits and pieces, but my wife watches it. And while we're watching it, she's like, why the fuck is that annoying guy so fucking familiar?
So you don't know about the season finale of season 1?
No, but I do. Well, is it the Gathering of the Vampires?
Yes.
They don't have Tilda Swinton there.
Yeah,
they do. Okay, they do have Tilda Swinton.
Yeah,
and they have Wesley Snipes on TV. Or
he's on Zoom, on
that's
laptop.
What it is, yeah.
I don't know if it's because he just couldn't make it or what, but they're also why is he here? He's a daywalker. That's
good shit.
Also, Rachel Evan Woods is there too. She was
Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood is there. Yeah, from True Blood.
And
Pee-wee, I forget his name.
He plays one of the head vampires because he's great in it.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
He was in the original Buffy.
Buffy, that's right. He was the really good. God, I remember when he gets killed in Buffy, and he just starts milking it, and he's
in the shadows now.
Yeah.
I could talk about that show all day. So.
It's a great show, and it pays homage to so much great vampire
media,
pop culture. Yeah. Anyway, Blade's killing dudes. It's great. He kills Tracy Lords in this scene because she goes, "Hey, I'm going to rip your fucking head off," and then he hits her below the belt so that she bends down over the shotgun,
and then bam. It's good shit.
But anyway, so then Quinn, who is Frost's lieutenant, he's played by Donald Logue, who I mentioned earlier. If you grew up in the 90s like me, you probably remember him from a sitcom called Grounded for Life, which I was a big fan of growing up. Anybody?
No, sorry.
Nobody.
No.
Wow. So sad.
Sorry.
Anyway, Blade kills all the guards that Quinn sticks after him because of course he does. And then he attaches Quinn to the wall with 2 stakes. And apparently Quinn is a type of vampire that is harder to kill than most and regenerates faster than most. This is all explained if you had the DVD growing up in the special features because you could go through the menu and they would explain what each of the different vampire glyphs meant and what that family of vampires were like.
Oh, that's so cool.
I miss that.
They don't do this anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I used to I remember total 13 Ghosts.
That was total DVD movie. Yeah,
they had the feature where they explained the stories behind all of the ghosts
because they cut so much out of the movie on it, and it's just implied.
Oh my god, so cool!
I feel like with Blu-rays, you don't get cool stuff like that.
The studios just don't invest in it because they don't care anymore. Yeah,
they know everyone's just downloading shit, streaming shit.
On our Pacific Rim episode, we talked about that because I was so enamored with Pacific Rim that I watched all of the fucking
that is a movie meant for special features.
Yeah, 100%. And then nowadays they just don't do this shit anymore. They don't care.
Blade 1 has a decent commentary track, but it is it was like 4 different recordings that they just kind of mixed together into one, and it'll cut between them, and he'd be like, this is the director, Stephen Norrington. This is Wesley Snipes, or this is Stephen Dorff. So you get a lot of like neat little anecdotes about the movie, or like the set dresser or production assistant explaining what happened in the scene or something. But overall, it's kind of boring. Blade 2 has a much better commentary track because Guillermo del Toro does it himself. The whole thing.
It's Guillermo. That's why.
And he's he did. He's the guy. He's the reason Pacific Rim has so many good special features.
I didn't know he directed it yet.
Yes, it was one of his early American movies. It was only the second American movie he ever did because he did Mimic and then Blade 2.
And then he did
he did Mimic?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Hellboy movies after that. So that's kind of Blade adjacent.
Hellboy 1, I think, came out before Blade 2. But then a lot of people in Hellboy show up in Blade 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a ton of them.
Ron Perlman plays a neo-Nazi in it.
He does.
Yeah. And Wesley Snipes has so much fun fucking with him.
Yeah, the back and forth between them is so good.
All right, we have to watch the second one.
Yeah, if I can sell it to you, like I don't like it as much as Blade 1, but it's like real close. But some people think it's the superior one.
Thank God, because I was
I thought you would like it more.
No.
Wow.
While I was watching it, I was like, fuck, this is kind of a downgrade.
I agree.
That's why I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're on the same track.
I think the cinematography and the editing are worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agreed. What the fuck? That's awesome.
Blade 1?
2.
No, the 2. 2 is.
Yeah.
If we get to it, like you're talking about the action here. I remember I was texting you while I was watching, especially the final fight, which we will get to, and how clean the action was. Like it definitely looks like everybody did their homework, was doing the stunts. There wasn't a lot of quick cuts like what we have today.
Yeah.
Like to quote us from,
they shoot all the action scenes from a medium distance so that you see Wesley doing Taekwondo.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's fucking awesome.
To quote us from our Gross Point Blank episode, they don't make them like they used to. And like I don't know where in the timeline it became popular to do all these quick cuts for fucking action, but I hate it. Personally, I don't like it. And in Blade 2, almost all the action is a lot like that. There's a lot of quick cuts where you don't see like long practice choreographed stuff, and they even have like CGI shit,
and it does way too much CGI. And God bless Guillermo, he is very open about it on the commentary, being like,
you told me about this.
He's like, he's like, they told me like we can fix it in post, like don't worry, we'll do this in CG. And he's like, and I know it sucks, I'm sorry. There's the early fight scene when they're fighting in front of the godlights
against Nyssa.
Yeah. And he's like, this is the worst scene in the whole movie. I'm so sorry. Like, I hate this. Yeah. And he's very open about how, and he even talks shit about David S. Goyer, the writer.
Yeah.
Because he's like, the script isn't very good, but sometimes he has a good scene here.
I want to know who did casting. I want to know who did casting for that, because Nyssa is almost as bad as Gal Gadot is today.
Whoa! I actually think she's better than Gal Gadot.
I said almost as bad.
Yeah.
So she is better by a small margin.
Okay, we got to get back, but
I'm sorry.
That's fucking funny.
Sorry.
God, I wish you guys played too.
I'm so sorry, guys. You should watch it though. You should watch it.
Yeah, no. If anything,
you're selling me on it 100%.
But then you stop.
Yeah,
because there's nothing else after that.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm serious.
I trust you.
Don't. There's a movie called Blade Trinity, but I don't know.
Oh no,
I don't think it's related.
Not related.
No.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Triple H is chasing after an ambulance in it, and it's supposed to be running really fast, but it's so clear they just played fast forward on the footage. It's so awful.
So it's reminiscent
which is
of
like the car scene from this one.
Scene. Yeah.
No, that's cool because it's just like selective editing to like make it a montage of them following him
but it's so awkward. It's like it comes across so weird.
I like that it's doing something really weird.
Yeah.
I just because I know it's a contrivance. It's not like you're actually supposed to think he's running really fast. Like no, they're just like it's like a weird editing choice to make it look like a quick montage of like they're just following the guy to the club. It wouldn't be an interesting scene. And also the director is the guy that's like on the street corner drinking that lady's blood as they go past.
Oh
yeah,
shit.
That's the director's cameo in this.
Oh damn!
I always wondered who that guy was. And I was like, is it just supposed to be like, just anybody in the street corner could be a vampire? I'm like, oh, it's the fucking director giving himself a cameo.
My favorite cameo in this movie is when they're at the party and they randomly just show this little toy bat, which I had as a kid, which is from the Morpheus.
In the IMDb trivia.
This is the Morbius toy, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, because we had that and I was like, why is this in it? And as a little kid watching it, it felt special. To know this toy that I had just has this like rare, weird moment.
Yep.
Like that's in this for some reason.
Let's just jump to it now since you mentioned it's a Morbius toy. Hey, do you know the original ending to this movie?
No, what was it?
Morbin time?
So when Wesley Snipes and Dr. Karen Jensen step out of the thing at the end after Frost is dead, spoiler alert, they're looking across like the cityscape. Well, in the original ending, and it's on the deleted scenes.
Oh, everyone's turned into a vampire, right?
Well, that was the original ending in the script, but they actually shot this. It's in the deleted scenes. They look out and they see a strange man in a trench coat, and Blade says something about like, "That's my next target" or something. It's Morbius.
That's fucking awesome.
My God.
Playing Morbius was the director because he really wanted to make Morbius the bad guy in the second Blade movie.
Oh,
yeah,
that's crazy.
I know.
And then he didn't get to do it because of fucking Sean Connery. That's wild.
Well, he was offered to direct Blade 2, but he turned it down for some reason.
Yeah, because he was doing League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, fuck, you're right. They came out like within a year of each other. Yeah, you're right. That must have been why. Because he was like, I'm going to make so much money off of LXG. I can't do Blade 2. Yeah.
Well, it was I mean, it was a financial success.
Yeah. It made a ton of money. So it probably
really?
Did. Yeah. LXG made a ton of money.
Shocking.
No, I know.
It made a lot of money.
I know. It made a ton of money. And that's with Hollywood accounting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we? There was a club.
Blade's killing people in the club.
He's killing people.
He stakes Quinn to the wall.
That's right. Yeah. And he's hard to kill.
Because Quinn is harder to kill than most vampires.
Yes.
And he goes, Quinn, I'm getting pretty tired of cutting you up. Thought I might try fire for a change. And he hits him with the white phosphorus grenade, a fucking war crime.
He war crimes him. I remember when, I don't mean to fucking go on another tangent, but I remember when we saw Annihilation, and at the end of the movie, you were like, I can't believe he fucking war crimed himself. I was like, what do you mean? It's like the white phosphorus. You can't do that shit. Like, that was a choice to go, man.
You're not even supposed to use those. They're so bad. It's like the worst way to die.
It's fucking crazy.
But yeah, as Quinn's burning, Blade walks away and then catches the young man in the Kangol.
Yes.
Who's freaking out, and he grabs his neck and makes sure he's not bitten, and he just
fucks off.
Yeah, he just jumps through the fence or through
with not a drop of blood on him.
Oh yeah, he's untouchable, baby.
It's great.
Yeah, I love that. Then he runs off into the night. The police and the paramedics arrive at the scene and cut down Quinn and put him on a gurney, take him to the morgue, where we meet Dr. Karen Jensen, a hematologist played by Inbush Wright. And she's working at the hospital that night. And during the autopsy that she's performing with her ex-boyfriend, there's like a whole weird thing about like their exes, and she thinks that he's trying to like get her to like ask her about why they broke up and stuff. But really he's like, no, there's something weird about this body. Like none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, but as they're doing the autopsy, Quinn comes to life, and attacks and kills, the ex-boyfriend and then
kills.
Well, yeah. So we'll get to that. Yeah. And then he attacks, Dr. Karen, and she runs out of the room while she's being bitten, just as Blade is walking into the hospital to finish off Quinn. And he gives Quinn a nice big punch in the face that hits the camera. It's so good.
Hold on. He pulls back his jacket like he's getting to pull a gun.
Yeah.
And then, but no, it's an uppercut, baby.
Yeah, he's just throwing his coat back to make the fist look cooler because he knows how to fucking move like a superhero. Oh my God, it's so good. And that's when the cops come in and shoot Blade, and he just goes, "Motherfucker, you out of your goddamn mind!"
Is this like one of the first times he actually like really says anything?
Yeah.
Like that's
It feels so like out of left field and like off key, and it's in a different pitch of his voice than in any of the movies.
Yeah,
that it's like also okay. Wesley improv'd or at least like added this stuff to the script.
Okay,
like also okay. I'll save it for when we get to it.
I texted you at that point. I was like, "Motherfucker, you out of your mind?" And you're like, "Yes, of course."
Yeah,
the
like, cops just are stunned and were like kind of like apologetic looking at him, and they stop shooting. And but then he turns and looks and sees Quinn's getting away. He sees Dr. Karen dying on the ground, and he goes to leave her at first, but then he has a flash in his head of his mom dying in the hospital, so he decides to scoop her up.
How is he remembering?
Okay,
that's what
Nicole. I'm so glad you asked. Because there's a cut scene, and it's in the script. I read the script, by the way, to prepare for this.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
so glad that you have all of these answers.
So he was born a vampire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're going to get into that later when it happens in the movie, but we know that Wesley's Blade, was born a vampire. Eric was born a vampire, right? Vampires, I guess, have memory of their whole lives.
From the moment
if they're purebred. Because there is a line in the script where he's like, I remember my birth. And Karen is like, that's crazy. Nobody remembers that. He's like, no, I do. I remember being born.
It would have been nice if they left that in.
Yeah, right?
I know.
Because that is not... So I'm watching this and I'm like...
I remember the wallet falling in a really weird way.
The scene where Whistler fills her in and then she walks over to Blade and he's just like, being brooding in his room. And she's like, Whistler, tell me what happened and tell me about your mom. And he's like, you don't know me, kind of shit. That was way longer. And he like explains this part about how he remembers being born and he remembers his mom dying. And that's why he has an eternal grudge against vampires and stuff. But it was all just cut because Wesley wanted to make that scene a lot shorter. And he's like, I can do everything in the scene by just looking pissed off and telling her to leave, basically. Which, like, I think is a good point.
Yeah, we get the message. We get
right. But yeah, they could have. That scene was originally a lot longer, and there was more they could have done with like him being born and stuff. And they don't leave in any of the stuff of him being a kid, if I remember right.
No,
maybe it's a later movie.
Don't they show? Oh,
do you see him as like a 13-year-old and Whistler?
Yeah, he talks about him. I for some reason I thought that was a clip from the first one too, but I guess
it's in my mind, but I don't remember.
I don't think it's
not in this.
If they didn't show,
I don't remember.
There's a clip in two. It's Blink and You Miss It. Whistler grabs him and it shoves him against a wall and is trying to explain to him like you got to control his hunger.
Line that Whistler has about. He says he found it when he was 14. Like
because he explains that to Karen.
Yeah.
Also in the script, Whistler is basically Van Helsing. He's like from a lineage of vampire hunters, and which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're at the hospital.
We are.
So he picks up Karen and jumps out of a window with her.
Throws her out.
First. Dislocates her shoulder.
Oh my god!
Yeah. This movie should be called Blade. The movie where people dislocate their shoulder.
I love when it circles back around when he does it, when he grabs onto the subway later and she has to throw it back in.
Someone who dislocates their knee every couple of years, I have a problem with that.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
I
feel like
yeah.
I've never dislocated anything. It sounds awful.
Once you have the muscles torn, you're more likely to do it. And I actually had a work incident where it happened. They were like, oh yeah, you had this happen before? It's going to keep happening to you.
Yeah.
So... I never wrapped my leg around a train as it drove away.
Well, Alex, funny you mentioned that. In this scene, when Quinn jumps up and bites Karen and Bush Wright's character, they're shooting in an abandoned hospital, right? And Quinn's covered in like fake burnt skin and blood, and Karen's yelling as he jumps up and attacks her. Well, I think the production designer on the commentary track mentioned that like something kind of funny in retrospect, but scary at the moment happened. Everyone's screaming on set, including Donald Logan. We realize something's happening because he falls to the ground and starts screaming in pain. And we're all like, what's going on? And we walk over to him and he can't talk. His mouth is open fully. And he's like pointing at himself.
He dislocated his jaw?
Yes. He was in a motorcycle accident a few years prior where he broke his jaw. And because of that, whenever he opens his mouth too wide, too fast, his jaw gets stuck open.
Fuck, dude.
And so they had to go to a hospital with him in all of his makeup.
Oh my god.
And the doctors were so confused. And they're like, no, it's just his jaw. That's all makeup. Yeah.
Do you remember when Michael Blackman was dressed up like Pee Wee Herman?
This happened to a buddy of ours at a Halloween party.
Dressed like Pee Wee Herman. And we had to go to, some people had to go to the hospital with him. And they had to reset his jaw. All in costume.
They were like, you found him in a porn movie theater?
Basically, if only, right? If only he dislocated his dick, that would have been way funnier.
Oh, Elon himself.
Okay, so Blade takes Dr. Karen Jensen to his hideout. She's been bitten, so she's turning into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So at the hideout, we're introduced to Whistler, played by Chris Christopherson. He is Blade's mentor and equipment specialist. Whistler and Blade treat Karen with a garlic injection that's supposed to slow down the vampirism.
Yeah.
If not,
such an Italian thing to do.
It sounds delicious.
Honestly, I was like, I'm down.
Give me that garlic infusion. I need it.
Yeah.
But I guess
Put a little
idea,
rosemary in there.
I guess the idea is like if they catch it in time, it will prevent the turn totally. But really, it just slows it down. It gives her a few days extra.
It's like 72 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, 72 hours to become a vampire normally. So this extends it for like a week or something.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I don't remember that.
I'm just throwing this out there, guys. What if this shot was the inspiration for the Papa John's garlic butter?
What if, right?
Yeah,
Like he sold the vial and he's like, I want to eat that.
I'm just throwing this out. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just asking questions, guys. Someone's got to do it.
Meanwhile, as this is happening, we cut to a council of old, high-ranking vampires led by actor Udo Kier. And they are being debriefed on the attacks by Blade on the nightclub or meatpacking facility, whatever. Deacon Frost, a young-looking and suave vampire played by Stephen Dorff, is brought before the council and blamed for organizing the rave that was attacked. The council, made up of stuffy representatives of different vampire nations, maintains order over vampire society by keeping their activity discreet so as not to attract attention from humans and politicians. Yes, I separate the two. Frost argues that vampires are superior to humans and should rule over them as their masters. Hey, fun fact, in the script, Frost is a lot older and is this is kind of in the script still, so it wouldn't be that surprising, but he's basically like a vampire supremacist. There is very much a white supremacist bad guy versus a black man dressed as a Black Panther.
There's still a little bit of that, but but in the movie, he's like the blueprint for like the mid 2000s emo boy.
Yeah.
Or like a Eurotrash kind of thing to me.
He's just like a party boy douchebag guy. Like really, I wish that they had played more into that because the party boy thing, I feel like doesn't. I don't know.
He's got the one party in his apartment
in his penthouse when he kills the cop. Yeah.
It's more like he's like a coming-of-age high school villain than he is like... I would have liked to have seen more of the vampire supremacy kind of like stuff in there.
Yeah.
Because he just seems like a vampire fuckboy. Like that's...
Yeah.
He's like a hedonist, basically, in this, Elsewhere, as this is happening, Blade arrives at a metaphysical supply store. I had to Google that because I was like trying to say like...
Spiritual...
Yeah, because like there's a store in... like that I passed on the way to my grandma's house that like my dad and I used to stop and go into just because it was so weird and funny.
Yeah, like crystals and
exactly. They sell crystals now kind of thing. But like they also sold scales and they had all kinds of signs to be like, don't ask about the scales. And I was like, oh, undercover cops are bugging them about this shit, aren't they?
like scales you put stuff to weigh stuff?
Scales for weighing.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking
and like
to weigh
by grams.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Your eye of Newt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your C of BD.
Shut up. That was good.
So Blade arrives at the store to purchase his serum, which is an alternative to drinking human blood.
Garlic butter.
No, that's not what the serum is.
No. He says it's concentrated garlic. That's what he says. I looked at it, I said, he could have got this at a fucking grocery store.
No, his serum? No, it's not garlic.
No, but he does pick up a little bottle of the concentrated
he's
garlic.
looking, while he walks in, he grabs a bottle that says essence of garlic.
But then he proceeds
but that's not
to
the
get
thing
a
that
serum.
he drinks. Yeah. Because the thing that he drinks is a simulacrum of
My
blood.
Nanu's rolling in a grave. It's essence of garlic.
I think you're onto something about the Papa John's getting inspiration from this movie. It's like, I can make some really fucking buttery.
Is it? I'm like,
I mean, they were right.
Garlic
butter,
pepper
I'll just
spray.
drink it.
I got garlic in my eyes as a kid all the fucking time. Like, what are you talking?
You're immune to it now.
I've always said if you cut me open, it'd be like olive oil, garlic, and squirt soda.
Oh, okay.
If someone used that vampire mace on you,
I'd be done. Yeah. Like, I put this on my food all the time.
Yeah, delicious.
Little seasoning.
God, it's such a good scene. Okay.
That would be great. This is one of them. He just sprays a pizza with it. Oh my
god. Okay, so he's there to purchase his serum that he drinks because he doesn't want to drink human blood.
Garlic butter.
Yeah. But we learn that Blade is building a resistance to this serum and it's becoming less effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just something weird.
Yeah.
I consume so much garlic that American garlic, I started losing the taste for it, right? I used to end up seeing when I went to China, they have a different type of garlic that they use there. I started tasting garlic.
Do they have more potent
garlic?
when
I went, yes.
Whoa.
They have a different type of garlic there.
Yeah.
That I was using. So Blade just needs to go to a different country.
and go to like a Chinese
exactly.
herbal medicine
I wish
store.
that you brought some back.
Next time.
Do you have to declare garlic at customs when you're
Does it have seeds? Because I think that's a big thing.
shade,
Every time I come,
I think you can plant the cloves to regrow it, right? Isn't that
invasive garlic species?
I just became garlic blind. I make garlic, and then when I went there, I started tasting again. I swear to God,
yeah.
And it's so weird. Like you go to other countries, you can probably test this. you eat chicken and you're like, oh, this is what chicken's supposed to taste like. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's different.
Like everything is so much better literally everywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this tastes like food.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually getting sustenance.
But anyway, I just thought of that when he mentioned, like, I was like, dude, you gotta go to China.
Well, we learned by the end of the movie he is international. So.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
a big one.
I love the metaphysical store scene because it doesn't have a ton of exposition, but then when he goes to leave, he daps up the guy.
Yeah.
And then like the guy is like, take care of yourself, man. And like he means it when he says it. And then Blade just runs away. Because he's like too cool and like stoic.
He still
to
has
stay.
his glove on to give him a non-glove like handshake.
But yeah, it says so much to me. Like it to me it proves that like Blade can be a personal like friend and like makes connections with people, like Whistler obviously, and like this guy. But like outside of that, like he's very calm and cool and collected and like doesn't talk to people, and he's stoic and brooding, But like Roger Ebert said, you can tell that there's heart behind his eyes, he just hides it. He has to keep that steely exterior.
When we get to the big reveal towards the end, man,
he's
that's
just
like
thinking
the best,
about the IRS the whole time. He's like,
listen, here comes, should we talk about that?
Here it comes. I made one fucking joke about this, and he ate my fucking head.
Because you talked about him like he was canceled, and I was like, no. First of all, he served his time, and second of all, he was ripped off by his accountants.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it's his fault. I think he's innocent. Wesley Snipes innocent.
I did not have the context.
And guess what? They were vampires.
Probably. I don't want to say it, but we all know what they were. Well, vampires.
They only worked at night. He should have known. They hated garlic. Very anti-Papa John's.
I'm going to spoil a great part of Blade 2, but he's introduced to this guy who's working for like...
I just feel bad for your viewers that want to watch Blade 2.
Too bad, baby. That movie's been out for 23 years. They had their chance.
Yeah.
He's introduced to like a lackey of like this super evil high-ranking vampire guy. And he's like, you're a vampire? And he's like, close. I'm a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a line in this movie that I didn't understand like as a kid that now I came back to. The cop that he beats the shit out of, and he's like, "Oh, he's a familiar." Blah blah. Blah. I thought he was saying like, "I know this guy. Like he's familiar to me."
Okay, Alex. Same thing. I also, as a kid, had no idea. I just assumed he was like, "I know this guy." Yeah. Same problem I had.
I didn't understand he was his Renfield. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
25 years later, I didn't even miss that. I got that wholeheartedly.
Also, I love that their cute little brands are just the Fifth Element signs. I thought that was adorable.
Oh yeah.
That is true. Oh, was that the same? Or no, was that 97 Fifth Element?
Oh, Fifth Element's before that. I think Fifth Element's maybe like 95, 96.
I'll look for it. You guys keep talking.
I feel like it's 97.
I have like weird association for movies for where I was living at the time and things were going on.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Her and I have 97. The same.
There you go, 97.
You owe me money.
Well, I said it was before. I said it was before Blade.
Next time,
said 95.
The next time he's on, you have what year did this movie come out? And then you have that list.
I would actually be good at that.
Okay,
I will as long as they're well-known movies. If you were like, what year did Jurassic Park come out?
I feel like you do usually like I'll say something about a movie and you'll be like, oh yeah, no, this came out this or around this time, and I'm like, did it really? And I look, and usually you're right.
Hit him with the batteries not included. What year?
Batteries not included.
Yeah. You think about that.
87, 88.
88. Good
88.
job.
Okay.
Continue.
I've never even seen that movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Oh, no shit.
But
I grew up on that one.
It's funny because I'll meet people sometimes and the autism in me will build up. They'll be like, I was born in 1983. And I'm like, that's the year Return of the Jedi came out. And they're like, what? What are you? I'm like, I just want you to know that.
I just want you just had to know.
My superpower is when I lived at home with my parents, I would come down the stairs and they would be watching a movie on TV on cable. And I would look at it for about a second and just go, oh, is this da-da-da? And they go, yeah. And they were always like, how the fuck do you know that? And when I visit them now and I do the same thing to them, they're like, I miss you doing that all the time. And sometimes they'll forget a movie that they watch and they'll just like describe it to me for a little bit and I'll just like name it for them.
My mom was more like, you can remember what year this movie came out, but you can't remember to take out the fucking trash. That's cool.
Yeah.
Karen is waking up at the hideout and finds that she has not turned into a vampire yet. She begins inspecting Blade's arsenal and discovers that his sword has a trap on the handle that opens up and destroys the hand of anyone that doesn't know how to disable the
It's
trap.
cool because on the inside, if you look really carefully, it says foreshadowing. I saw that it's etched on there.
Etched on the
It's
handles.
it's in Vampire Runes.
Acid etched.
Blade and Whistler officially introduce themselves to her and explain that they are vampire hunters, and they explain that crosses and holy water are ineffective or don't do dick. But garlic, silver, and UV light and stakes to the heart are the only effective way to kill them.
Whistler played D&D. Because that's how the vampires work in D&D.
Yeah.
too.
Really? Oh, that's funny. Oh,
Yeah, they
wow.
have
He
complete
goes,
different
you ever
rules
been to
from-
Barovia?
Exactly.
Whistler explains that vampires are everywhere and that they own cops and politicians, so she needs to lay low and disappear, and Blade drops her off at her apartment. Meanwhile, Frost is raiding the Vampire Council's servers for information on an ancient ritual to bring about a blood god. And I think Steven Dorff is so fucking hot in this scene in particular. I don't know
Explain.
if you guys remember it.
Explain.
Okay, he is wearing
Three sweaters deep?
No,
he
just
has-
a white button-down
Yes.
shirt, but
Yeah.
the collar is like, okay, you
Yes,
remember.
yes,
Thank you.
yes.
So it's like popped just right. So it's like really drawing attention
Yeah.
to like the
Yeah.
V-line. His jaw, I mean, Steven Dorff has like an incredible jawline,
Yeah.
but he's also got that like beard growth where it's like just enough.
Yeah. It's like,
You know?
oh, you don't care, but in a cool way.
Yeah. And then his bangs are all doing that like
Oh my God,
the sticking out,
his
which is very like late 90s.
Hair is perfect.
But oh my God. And then he literally like, he's like antagonizing and seducing Udo Kier at the same time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's so good. And then Udo just goes, "You're beneath
Also-
me," and storms out.
Also, I love that he's in this white room, but he's also like crouched down, like
Yeah.
he's in a music video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
just
like on the floor.
coolly
yeah.
up against the wall,
Oh,
listening to
yeah.
like a mini disc player.
Yeah.
Like something
You know,
very 90s.
REM's on that bad boy. You know,
No, he's
like,
listening to techno when he takes the headphones off.
That was
He
Crystal Method.
changed it.
It may have been.
That was Crystal Method.
Crystal Method is on the soundtrack.
I know because Haley was watching it and she loves Crystal Method.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
oh,
know what?
yeah.
That's true because he's got a shirt button and he goes, "Oh, I guess I didn't know."
But no, I think Steven Dorff is really hot in this movie, but in this scene in particular, peak hotness. I had clocked that so hard when I was writing this.
What percentage of gay are you?
I don't know. I never put it on a spectrum,
Okay.
I guess.
I'm starting to like figure out your type.
I mean, I consider myself a straight cis male.
Not
but
anymore. You're not.
Look,
Ew.
let me just. This is my test. Like, if
Yeah.
John Hamm came to you and he said, "Hey, Jared,
Yeah.
I want to give you the opportunity to suck my dick," would you turn that down?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You're barely even
I
gay.
feel like a better to have your dick sucked by him.
It's Ryan Gosling for Jared, by the way. It's Ryan Gosling.
No, dude, John Hamm is legendarily.
Yeah,
known. I
but
wanna
like
see
maybe
this.
just you're like, dick just doesn't really do it for me. But John Hamm.
So you're saying that it's gayer
Maybe you
to
don't wanna-
get sucked.
Oh,
It's
that's
gayer,
a
it's gayer to
philosophical
suck a
conundrum that I
dick than
can't-
get your dick sucked. 100%. You can pretend that
She's
it's
right.
a girl.
She's right. You can just close your eyes.
Okay, but
Could be anything.
Okay, so what I think she would say. No, I'm saying if he's judging whether he would pass it up is to judge if he's gay. Like, I would never.
But
pass
also,
that
I mean,
up.
maybe John Hamm isn't his type.
Yeah.
It's Ryan Gosling.
I do think
Okay,
John
so
Hamm is
Frost-
It's Deacon
incredibly.
Frost.
It's Deacon Frost.
Specifically in that scene.
1998
So
Deacon Frost.
if
Yeah,
Ryan
in the
Gosling
white
comes
shirt
to you
with the
and
collar
he's like,
pop.
Jared, I'm gonna give you this
And
once
the
in a
bangs.
lifetime opportunity. You know I'm married, but my dick is so dry, and I would like to give you the opportunity to put an Oscar-winning dick in your mouth.
But honestly, I don't care how hot a guy is. If he's like, I'm going to give you the opportunity to put my... I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
That's a turn off
No.
too. I
That's a little
agree.
arrogant.
Yeah.
no. I don't
agree with
care
that.
how hot he is.
I agree with
yeah,
that.
no, I agree with the way that John Hamm's doing this, but for me, I'm like, I don't want to lose out on this opportunity that John Hamm asked me of all people. He came in my
I think he just
DMs.
might be like really gay, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
No. Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
you're more gay than
I know
anything.
I am more gay than Jared. This is the point I'm
That's
trying
the
to
thing.
make.
I don't want to be like heteronormative about it, but like,
But you are. You're making me feel really.
I'm sorry. I just have no inclination to like S&D. I'm sorry. It just
And that's
doesn't.
You're gonna
Fine.
let Ryan Gosling walk out with a dry dick? Ryan Gosling. He's in your intro. He's talking about cells, and you're gonna let
they are interlinked. You could be interlinked.
You could be
with
interlinked with Ryan Gosling.
What I love about that movie is like he thinks he's the chosen one. He's meant for something, and then he finds out he's not. And that's what's so relatable about that fucking movie for me.
But then he decides that he can be unique in the way that he decides to be.
Right, and he has
you
to
have the chance to be unique by sucking Ryan Gosling's dick.
Suck Ryan Gosling's dick, God
Jared,
damn
you
it.
better suck it.
Let's get back on track.
I will say, okay, you know those hypotheticals that like what is homophobic like straight guys love to ask themselves, like, would you suck a dick for $10,000? In my head, I'm always like, $10,000 is a lot of fucking
That's
money.
a lot of
So
money.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
My problem is this: is it to completion, or am I just?
That's true too. They never specify.
Yeah, they
It
never
could be anything.
Yeah.
because the thing. Also, if it's someone who's offering me $10,000, they're probably doing it because they don't like me. Like they want to dehumanize me or do something.
That's fine. It's $10,000.
Yeah.
Dehumanize me.
It's true.
I don't.
The real question is how low would you go? Like, what is your like
$50?
How much debt do you have?
About $10,000 worth.
About
Same.
$100,000
Oh,
worth.
yeah.
I went to college for a really long time.
Makes sense. He's really thinking about it. Hey, you think about that. Let's keep
no.
up.
I'm thinking. No, my problem is I'm like, could I get a fat burger? Like, what am I passing over here?
In-N-Out
Wow.
animal style fries.
Alex, you gotta have higher standards for yourself, buddy.
I'm from California. Everybody already assumes I'm gay. What am I gonna do?
It's also the way you walk.
It is.
You walk way too fast to be straight.
You walk too fast to be straight.
You don't know about the gay walk? They use it in this movie, Jared.
Alex, when you
That's
have to
actually what it is in the second movie. That's not them speeding it up. They're just gay.
Yeah.
when you have to walk really fast, do you like crouch down a little bit? Like, does your height? Okay, is this just me?
It's you. It's you.
People made
He
fun of me
goes into
so
sleep
much.
mode. He presses the R3 button. He goes into sleep.
Listen. My friends in middle school made fun of me because I remember I was playing Morrowind for them, showing them how cool I thought Morrowind was. And when you run in that game, your guy looks kind of goofy, and all my friends started saying he runs like you.
And like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
My first encounter with Will, ever with Will.
Oh, I
was
Naruto run. That's right.
Yeah, I was at a 40K tournament, and he Naruto run across the thing, and I thought, oh
That's
my
a legitimate
god,
running
That's
method.
all I could picture when you said that you crouch a little bit. That's all I could picture.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have to. There's not enough room in this garage to do it, but like I just instinctively did it because I got more gait on my legs by doing it.
Do you?
And
Yeah, you do.
more spring
Wanna know
maybe
the
in my
physics
step.
behind
But like
this.
all my friends in high school used to be
Wait,
like, "Why
is
do
it
you like lower
like you're
yourself
going-
when you run?"
like you're going bow-legged, like you're on a horse, like.
I'm like about to get up with all these wires and do this on pod.
Ladies and gentlemen,
nothing to do with
we know that. Jared, do it. I want to describe it to the listener what this looks like, please.
He's doing it.
Okay, he's doing it. Here we go.
We're keeping it in, baby.
All right.
Let's see it. Move.
Okay.
Let's see it. See it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay. You do.
Oh.
No, you know what you look like? You look like when someone's standing behind like a thing and they're like, oh, I'm going downstairs.
Yeah.
That's what you
it
look
looks
like. You like lowered
It
yourself.
is-
You just like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
That's
speed
what
shuffle.
you did.
It's a speed shuffle. That's exactly what it's
It
doing.
is
You're
a
shuffling really
speed
quick.
shuffle.
I've never watched Sheldon or Big Bang Theory, but I imagine that's how young Sheldon runs. So yeah. Okay.
Are you calling me autistic? Because I'll take it.
If the train fits.
Okay.
Where were we?
We're getting into a great scene, Will. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, which scene?
So Karen is heading to her apartment, but becomes paranoid and fears that she's being followed.
The cop scene. This is so good.
She notices the familiar logo on some people with her in the elevator, and as she runs to her apartment, she starts packing up to leave, and a cop wanders in, saying that he's there to check on her because of what happened at the hospital. And then as they're talking, he attempts to kill her. She whips out her garlic spray that Whistler gave her and sprays him in the face, but it only annoys him. And she said, yeah, he said it would work against vampires. Vampires? Who said anything about vampires? And then he whips out his gun to go shoot her, just as Blade appears behind him, who beats the shit out of him. And Blade goes, nobody. And Blade explains as he's beating up the cop to Karen that he is a familiar, which is what the vampires use. They just like get humans and use them as tools. So that, they can do their bidding during the day and shit. And, having a cop familiar is useful in many ways.
Yeah.
What did we see? A vamp? What was
ACAV. All cops are vampires.
That's fucking good. Well, because at one point she's like, I have blood as evidence. Like I could take it to the cops, and Whistler goes, "They own the cops," Yeah. So Blade begins torturing this cop for information.
It was funny as fuck, dude.
It's so okay. The whole imagery of seeing a black man dressed like a Black Panther, beating the fuck out of a white cop, and in the middle of a street in broad daylight, gives this movie like way
LA.
more juice.
In Los Angeles.
And it's making Karen uncomfortable, and she interrupts him from shooting him because the cop goes, "Fuck you," and he goes, "Fuck me, no, you fuck this," and pulls out a gun to shoot him, and Karen interrupts them, and the cop is able to escape, and Blade's pissed off, and says the line that I almost quoted at the beginning about how, the world is just a sugar-coated topping. But they decide that they're going to stake out the cop's car because he has some blood bags inside that he's supposed to deliver somewhere, but he wouldn't tell them where. So they stake out the car because Blade is convinced that he's going to come back for it.
And she's like, no one's stupid enough to come back.
Yeah, she's like, no one's that stupid. And Blade goes, when you understand the nature of a thing, you know what it's capable of. Told you I was going to quote this whole fucking movie.
Fucking God, dude.
And then they're staking it out, and then the cop comes running back to the car later that night, and Blade just looks over at Karen and gives her a shit-eating grin. It's so good. So they follow the cop to a nightclub.
Another one.
I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this, but it's such a good scene. Okay. I glossed over this in the summary, but I have to talk about this. So they're getting ready to go in, and Blade is explaining to Karen what's happening. And he's like, this is a vampire nightclub. You can tell because there is a symbol on the wall in neon that is the familiar sign. And he's like, and also everyone here is a vampire.
It means it's a safe house.
Yeah, or it's one of their safe houses, right? And he goes, also the valets are vampires, the doorman's a vampire, and so is the sex worker on the corner.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
And she goes, how do you know that? And he goes, the way they move, the way they smell. And then she goes, it's like a bad dream. And he says, but there are worse things out than vampires tonight. And she goes, like what? And he goes, like me. And he twirls his sword and throws it in his back. God, he's so fucking cool.
Literally everything he does is just like...
No one's been cooler than this man in this movie.
The worst part is if you were just a viewer walking down the street, like in real life, and you saw us, you'd be like, what a fucking crazy dude.
Right?
But...
So hold on 1 second. That's not true, because you told us about how you ambushed Blade earlier. What was...
Oh, yeah, I need to hear the story.
He didn't have any weapons.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to tell the
To
story?
be fair, he probably had to leave them in his car. I don't think they would have let him into Universal.
Oh, this wasn't a man working the park?
This was not a man working in the park.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was like a Marvel...
No, they don't have Blade.
Because I saw Psylocke.
So dear viewers...
Can you talk about
Nicole
this?
and I,
Oh, okay.
Nicole and I went to Hollywood and visited my family. We went to Universal Studios Park out there.
Yeah.
But Blade is a Marvel IP.
Yeah.
It belongs to him.
Right.
So that's what was shocking. So we were entering the park. There in that park, there's a bunch of escalators that go down. So it literally is kind of downhill as you go. As we're going in, we're walking with my family, and a guy dressed completely like Blade just walks past me. And I stepped in front of him, realizing what he was dressed as, and I said, are you trying to walk uphill? Or are you trying to ice skate uphill? Yeah, I said, are you trying to ice skate uphill? I'm not telling this story. Maybe you can do it, but I'm out of it.
No, the way that you just like so seamlessly like went up to him and was like, you trying to ice skate uphill? And the way he looked at you as though he was not in full Blade outfit.
Yeah. But
and then you feel like the idiot. You're like, you're the one dressed as Blade here, fucker.
But then he like realized and he like laughed.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's no reason for him to be in that park. There was no reason for him to be in that park dressed as Blade.
Yeah.
There's no Marvel IP stuff there. Maybe it was the comic book store that was on City Walk, but there was no reason for him to be there just that way. It would have been like just as weird if I was walking down and there was just like the escalator and there was a guy dressed as Invincible. It's like, why is this here? Like, so yeah, it was just really out of nowhere.
Did you consider he was there to hunt vampires that night?
I did.
Oh my God.
You know what's funny? Because he reached in the back and he pulled out a garlic knot, and that was his only weapon.
And twirled it.
Yeah, twirled it around, put it away.
He had like little injector syringes on his pockets that had like the
it was
garlic
just
sauce.
Parmesan. Papa John's, like,
Had some on the right for marinara. Okay, so Blade approaches the entrance of the club with Karen, and he starts explaining the rules to her again about vampires. He basically reiterates the same thing that Whistler says. He also hands her a gun and says, "Do you know how to use this?" And she goes, "No, but I'll damn sure learn quick." They get to the entrance. There is a large Asian man guarding the entrance. He's wearing sunglasses, and he stops Blade. And he goes, "Can I do the accent? I probably can't."
No, don't do it. No.
Well,
you were going to do blackface earlier today, too, and we stopped you.
I was not going to do
blackface. Okay. We got to leak the text message.
Oh, God, please. No. It was in a signal chat.
Okay, Pete. Anyways, yeah, so what does he say?
He basically asked him if he has an invitation card. I'm not going to say it the way he says it because it's probably offensive. But I really it's burned into my memory because it's such a cool scene to me.
You've also seen this movie like 20 times.
It's not burned into my memory, and I've been watching this movie just as long as you, so I don't know what that says.
Blade just smiles, and looks over at Karen and takes his sunglasses off.
He gets the toothiest grin.
Yeah, the goofiest. Oh, God. And then it just quick cuts to that bouncer flying through a window, and then Blade just walks in. And we hear the song is called I Looked this song up for years until I finally found it because it's not on the soundtrack.
It's a really long title for a song.
It's just Chin Chin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The way that you said the song is called the way you launched into it, I was like, Jesus Christ.
I literally thought
is this a Fall Out Boy song?
Yeah. It's just called Chin Chin. And the DJ that we see up on the stage and then the girls singing it are actually the people that made the song.
Okay.
But it's a nightclub just...
The fucking little flashlights on his head.
That's the guy from the beginning.
Oh, that's the guy in the beginning.
It was driving me nuts.
Oh my God.
It's in the script for some reason.
It's in the script.
Yeah. The DJ has headlights, headlamps on his head.
Two headlamps and he couldn't shoot for shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And he has bloodbath written up in blood on the banner next to him. Yeah. God, I love this movie. I know so much shit about this.
So he goes into
he storms through the club, just walking through like he owns the place. There's a lot of Japanese culture colliding, and to me it's very cyberpunk because it's saying this is all of these cultures colliding, because it's like the late 90s.
They're all vampires,
right? But these are the seedy vampire underbelly, but it's also. It's multicultural. Vampire doesn't see race. So it's just very interesting.
The vampires are very DEI.
Yeah, there's a lot of DEIA in the vampire community. Yeah. But a couple of bodyguards walk up to him. Blade
Frost is like, we want merit-based vampires.
There's a couple guys in the next movie that are merit-based vampires.
Oh,
priests.
There's a lot of they revisit that stuff. Yeah. But Blade just goes through like it's nothing, gets to the back of the kitchen, starts torturing the cop again. And he's like, "Where's the entrance?" And he's just like, "It's in the fucking fridge, man." So they open up the fridge and it's a long walkway and it leads to, and this is my least favorite part of this whole fucking movie, Pearl, the librarian.
Oh, Pearl. I forgot Pearl existed. You even pointed out Pearl and I forgot they existed.
I got a lot to say about this. And I know I haven't
really, because I just want to breeze right past Pearl.
If you want to, we can. But I was talking about how he was based off of that Alan Moore character from Swamp
right. Oh, yeah.
Which I just found out recently, which was great. But I actually have a note about Pearl.
I just need to know why Pearl is naked. Why is Pearl naked?
Because it's more gross, I guess.
Well, that's exactly what I said. I was like, it's to drive home the fact, to really emphasize the fact that Pearl is just disgusting.
Gross out, and it's super fat phobic and weird.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote, when I was young, I was grossed out by Pearl, but now I have become Pearl. It bothers me because I don't understand too. This was just a very large person that they turn into a vampire, or they have gluttonous vampire.
Because you never see fat vampires.
The design for it, I think they wanted to do something different, which I understand, but it is very fat bastard coded. It's so weird to me.
Absolutely. It's that. It's I could tell you two quick facts about it. Pearl was a large puppet that took 4 or 5 people to operate.
Whoa.
One for each extremity. And also, the puppet for Pearl was so heavy that they had to build the set around it instead of lifting it to the set.
It's kind of like the Borgullet.
What is that?
From Rogue One, the Borgullet.
Oh, okay.
It's 18 people had to operate it.
It also kind of reminds me of Morbius from X-Men a little bit.
Explain.
Isn't that his name? The guy, he's the yellow dude with he runs the interdimensional TV show stuff.
Oh, I know.
Mephisto?
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's not just that, but it's also like video games because they were in X-Men '97. I can't remember the name of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not going to look it up. You got it. You're on it. I see you moving. But anyways,
well, the more interesting thing, some of the lore about Pearl that they cut out of the movie was he's so big that he cannot like catch his own prey, essentially, right? And so what they originally intended was for him to be surrounded by dead bodies of like infants and children. Whoa. And they decided it was too gross and they didn't go with it.
That is metal, actually. That'd be fucking baller.
It's something that you'd see in a Dark Souls game now.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the idea, the implication rather was like that they just throw kids down there and then they can't escape and he just eats them basically.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and that's how he got so big is like he's just constantly
Is that the reason why they can't find a director for the Blade reboot?
They don't know how to do Pearl? Yeah. God.
There are so many things. We don't know how to do this PC. How do we do this? How do we do all this
do
without
we make
getting
Pearl
canceled?
Anorexic now?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mojo is who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Oh,
Pearl is still very large, but just really body positive.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I was thinking about.
Yeah, Mojo. You probably, if you saw him, you know.
Okay, yeah. People were yelling at their podcast when you said that. So yeah.
It's me. I'm yelling at me.
But elsewhere, we cut to the cop familiar that led Blade to this place. He goes to Frost's penthouse where he's having a big party. And there's a girl watching Mortal Kombat on the TV. Did you catch that?
I didn't know. You know what's really crazy about that is because that's the scene where Reptile either dies or turns into the human.
Yeah.
I can't remember which part. And then no shit, at the very end of this movie when they've got the like Nosferatu bat things coming out of the High Lords and shit, looks so similar to Reptile from that film. I wonder if it's the same CGI artist, and I wonder if
the same special effects house,
and
or
that's
something,
an Easter
probably.
egg. But
it could have been.
I you did your research, so
I didn't find anything about that. But
I honestly wonder if there are more special effects houses now that are smaller, independent ones, or like back in the day, it was like 2 or 3 that broke off into them, or kind of.
I think they've all been consolidated now. Is the thing?
Yeah,
because like didn't Weta go under too?
No.
They're still around?
I work with people with Weta.
Oh, thank God.
On my job. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So no, they're fine. They're very, very employed.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, the cop is like apologizing to Frost. And it's like Hedonism 101 up there. Or Hedonism 2. Excuse me. That's the number.
Yes, it is Hedonism 2, dude. Sex guys.
Yeah.
He gets fed blood grapes.
I love that Quinn is like laying on a couch with 2 girls being like, yeah, I can totally get you in with Deke, man. We're so tight, And then Deke walks by and he's like, yo, Deke, I was just telling these bitches about you. Deke, he gets like, when he's in business mode, he's like really busy.
Yeah.
Is this also the part where we see that his bed has like a contain, like it opens?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And a person comes out.
So we get a tease of someone in Deacon's bed.
Yeah.
Who looks a lot like Blade's mom.
Yeah, but I didn't catch it when I was watching it.
No,
I don't think you're supposed to know.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No, when this bed opens up, you do not see this person's face. Actually, you just see them run their hand over him, and they say like, "Don't work too hard," or something. They say something to him, but
because he's working on the blood god thing.
Yeah, but you don't see this person's face. Actually, they're out of frame and everything.
They're keeping it for a reveal.
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is also the same scene where you see the Mephisto toy that you mentioned, by the way. But anyway, Frost.
It's a little plastic bat with a cape.
Yeah, and it gets a full, like, it takes up the whole screen when
it's
it
not
cuts
like,
to it. Yeah.
It is literally like dead center focused on it, which is what's so funny. It's like he's playing with it in the background or anything. They just like show you
Man,
this toy.
Stephen Dorrington really did want to do Morbius.
Yeah, I think he was like a fan of Morbius and like
I
really wanted him to
that.
be the
I want to see that
antagonist.
movie.
Yeah, I know, right? Couldn't have been worse than the Leto one.
No.
But yeah, Frost just ends up killing the cop and sucking his blood and throwing him in the pool.
Which is filled with rubber ducks.
It just has one.
No, there are a
there's
bunch
multiple.
of rubber ducks.
Maybe it's on the other side because the end scene is his body falling in, and then you see the duck
when
like
it
bounce
first
up.
shows, it shows a ton
There's like
of
18,
rubber ducks.
20,
Yeah.
It's one of those cool like what are those pools called
Like
where
the
they go right up to the
Infinity
edge?
pool.
Yeah, is it an infinity pool? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
It's really like this is like the fanciest fucking penthouse,
in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut back to Blade and Karen, who are torturing Pearl to death with a UV lamp for information on Frost's like blood god ceremony. Karen ends up just killing him altogether with the UV lamp because she's disgusted by it.
Kind of gleefully too.
Yeah, it's weird and gross. But Blade explodes his way into the vampire archive room and ends up walking into a trap that Quinn has set for him. Blade is initially caught off guard by a young woman that's running around, and he offers her his hand, but then she gets up and starts kickboxing him. Fun fact about this lady, they found her while casting. She was a protege of Billy Blanks. Do you guys know who Billy Blanks is?
Is this the personal trainer of we just had a conversation about this and we don't
no
didn't he do like kickboxing videos?
Yes.
Like,
Tybo.
He's the Tybo guy.
Yeah,
he's the Tybo guy.
Oh no shit.
Yep, he was a really like
totally
super jacked dude that did Tybo.
existed.
He did like infomercials, and you could buy his VHS tape that taught you how to work out.
He did P90X stuff too, right? I think he's
he's in that realm, so maybe. But his thing was Tybo, which was like super big in the 90s. Like my mom bought it for me and I had to do it all the time.
I was saying
being a fat kid.
My aunts bought videos and I would do the Tybo with
I just remember stepping up and doing this and then you walk back. Oh, God. Anyway, but this like teenage girl just starts like kickboxing Wesley. And like they make like a whole scene out of like how cool it is. And you can tell like Wesley was like super impressed with her. It's really neat. But anyway, he gets beat up and subdued by Quinn's men. Quinn reveals that his arm has grown back from his last fight with Blade. And meanwhile, another one of his lackeys is holding Blade's sword. And he goes, check it out. I got his pig sticker. And then it explodes and blows his hand off.
And they all laugh about it.
They all start teasing him. Yeah, like, you're such a fuck up, dude.
They are very mean to that guy.
He shows up in Blade too.
You're kidding?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know
He's
that.
one of the... he gets turned into a Reaper. It's one of those dudes.
Oh, okay.
Whole thing. He also, like, you can tell he edited the IMDb page for Blade because he's the like only other actor outside of the main cast that shows up in Blade 2. And I was like, yeah, you're real proud of that, aren't you, buddy? So just as Quinn is starting to like torture Blade up against this pillar, Whistler comes blowing his way in.
Stabs him.
Yeah, he's stabbing him with his stakes in his chest, just like he did to Quinn at the beginning. But then Blade just starts laughing and he goes, I'm expecting company. Whistler comes blowing in. Will, do you want to say the line? Because you texted me when it happened.
Oh, I'll have to fucking pull it up.
I got it.
Dude, I'm telling you, my brain is fucking Swiss cheese. What is it?
Catch you fuckers at a bad time.
That's right.
And then just starts blowing them all away with a machine gun.
That's
my God, it's so good.
Sorry, the only quote that I've got up, and it's from the second movie, so I'm not even going to say it.
Oh, okay, yeah. What?
You are about one cunt hair away from hillbilly heaven.
That is a good line. Yeah, I was like, there's not that many good quotes in it.
It's literally the fucking best line of that whole fucking movie. It's so good.
And is it Chupa that says it?
Chupa
or
says
Reinhardt?
it, yeah.
It's Chupa. Yeah, he doesn't even have that many good lines. Yeah.
No, but the lines that he does deliver, they're all like hilarious because there's that one and there's like two more and then he dies. And it all revolves around Whistler.
Yeah, he like exists to torture Whistler.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Okay, so Whistler's shooting at Quinn and all of his men. That causes a huge chaos. And Blade and Karen are able to escape onto the subway. That's where Blade dislocates his arm.
That's right, yeah.
So back at the base, Whistler explains to Karen that Blade is a daywalker. This is halfway through the movie.
That's right.
And he just now like starts explaining what Blade is because Karen has picked up that he's not human now. But he explains that Blade is a daywalker. He's half human and half vampire. He has all of their strengths and none of their weaknesses, except the thirst for blood, which is overtaking his serum that he ordinarily uses to suppress his bloodthirst. Whistler also explains that he had a family once, but a vampire killed them, leading to Whistler hunting them for years. He discovered Blade as a teenager and raised him to hunt vampires with him. Hello, Jared interrupting here to let you know that this is unfortunately the end of part 1 of our episode on Blade. We ended up talking for over 4 hours during this record session, so we're splitting this into 2 parts, as our episodes are usually half that long, and Will be returning from his trip overseas by the time you hear this. So join us next time when we complete our discussion on Blade. Thank you so much to Nicole and Alex for joining us in what was an extremely fun time, breaking down one of my favorite movies of all time. So long, and take care. Debaser, a film podcast, is hosted and produced by Will Taylor and Jared Rusk. The show is mixed and edited by Jared Rusk. The theme song is also by Jared Rusk. The cover art is by Dog Bites Back on Instagram. Special thanks to Haley and Courtney for their love and understanding. Check out debaserpod.com for links to all of our episodes and to find us on social media like Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you for listening, and take care of each other.